Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in to another video. Today we are going to be going over the update on the sway bars. I said I would do an update after I've given it a few miles, and today's your day. So if you follow along with the channel, you probably already know, but if you're new, initially we took off just the front sway bar. I left the rear on. I figured to have the tent and stuff on there, keep it a little more solid for day-to-day driving. But I decided after the fact that, you know what, let's try to remove them both. It's a sway bar. They're easy to put on and off. So if you're watching this and you're still debating, just take it off, go for a test drive, and see for yourself. But for those of you who might want just a little idea of what you're going to be dealing with, I have taken them off. And of course, through video, like I said, it's hard to exactly show you how the truck handles and moves and all that, but I can try to explain it a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. So like I said, initially we took the front off. Now I noticed the front a lot more than I noticed the rear. I think that's because initially I had them all on there. So when that one comes off, you start to get a little bit more roll. Now it's nothing nuts. Well, myself anyway, I never felt like the truck was out of control. Like you're going to flip, you're going to lose grip, you're going to, anything. It still felt planted. You just got a little bit more body roll. So say it was kind of like this, you might gain like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15%, not even. But you can definitely tell that it's not there. Having said that, when you're driving on road, just normal day-to-day, straight line, highway, city streets, that kind of stuff, you're not even going to really notice that it's gone. And that is the same with the back. I took the back off and I noticed it for maybe a day or two because again, the truck's going to lean and handle just slightly different. So you do notice that something has changed. But again, you don't ever feel like you're going to lose control or end up in the ditch or anything like that. Now, what I can tell you, having both of them off, is the truck does handle, at least in my opinion, on the road, very similar to having the rear still on there. Like I said, the front came off. With the rear gone, just normal day-to-day driving, you can't really even tell it's not there. The only time, and this only lasted for maybe a day or two, and then you kind of get used to it, is when I'm coming, say, on or off a highway and you have the long sweeping corners. That's when I noticed a little bit more body roll. But again, it's nothing crazy. It's not like you're going to flip your truck. I never felt at all like I needed to hit the brakes or anything like that. It's just you do feel a little bit more lean to it. And of course, having the tent and the awning and stuff on the back, I do also have a little bit of weight on there. So that's going to come into fact. And then also keep in mind the truck, obviously you could probably tell by looking at it, has a lift. I do have heavy duty springs on the front, heavy duty leafs on the back. So that all comes into play as well. What you have to keep in mind is if you're doing this on a stock truck, that's why I mentioned that they're easy to take on and off. If you're doing this on your stock truck, it's probably going to handle much differently than mine because of my upgrades to the suspension. So there's a bunch of factors you got to put in before deciding whether to do it or not. And that's why I always say in these videos, go out one weekend, take it off, and see how you like it. Now, off-road driving, which is probably why most of us would be even considering taking these things off. If you're going to stick to the pavement, I wouldn't bother. But off-road, night and day difference, especially with the front and back off. A lot of the trails we go to, they all start off with these little forest service roads. They're all washboard. They got potholes. They got rocks. It's all loose gravel in some spots. And you air down your tires. The sway bars are gone. And you almost can't even tell. It's obviously you can tell you're on a gravel road, but it's nothing like I had in the past because I brought this truck out and when it was totally stock, and it rattles your teeth out when you're in there, especially on some of the uglier spots in these back roads here. When you have this off, of course, bigger tires come into play as well, but you have the sway bars off and it's not 100%. It's not like you're, rolling on glass or anything like that, but you're definitely going to appreciate the comfort when you have your wheels that are be able to freewheel, let's say that, and kind of take up the bumps and the ugliness a little bit, and maybe save your back, especially if you're on the long trips like we are out here. And then one last thing to keep in mind, and a couple people brought this up in the comments before on the other videos I did about this. If you tow, I have the tow hitch on my truck. If you're towing something a lot, especially if you're getting close to what the truck can handle, I would probably not recommend taking any of your sway bars off. Some people do it, but if you're in any sort of, say, emergency situation, like I said with the sway bars, I never feel like the truck would flip. It would have to be a pretty crazy, something would have to be going on in order for me to crank the wheel hard enough and be going fast enough to roll the truck. I would say, in my personal opinion, probably wouldn't happen. But having said that, especially if your truck is stock, if you're taking these things off and you got a big trailer back here, that's a lot more weight. And everyone knows I don't tow a lot. Like, I would probably never tow with this truck. I'm not a trailer guy. I like throwing the tent up there. I'll go camping like that, or I'll throw a ground tent up before I get a trailer. But if you do tow quite a bit, when you tow, if something's happening and you start getting the sway in the trailer, that's a lot of weight behind the truck. And if now your truck can start doing this and wobbling back and forth, chances are if that trailer goes over, you're coming with it. So just keep in mind, if you tow, especially heavy weight, I would probably recommend just leaving the sway bars on. That's kind of what they're for in the first place. And, you're going to save yourself a possible big accident in the future. And just because I know you guys are going to ask, this is the best spot I could find to kind of tuck and flex the truck out a bit. Rear sway bar off, front tire tucks way up in there. And now you can see why I got to trim the front. That tire is definitely rubbing, but that's for another video. And then back, tons of flex. You can see you could park a whole other car in there if you wanted to. We'll come around the other side. Video never does justice of exactly how steep these hills are. But backside again, it's not as tucked as it can go, but it is up there. All tucked in, ready to go to bed. And then you come up to the front on this side. And nice flex all the way down. And then this is actually the side where the tire hits quite often. I still have not got around to trimming it, but you can see it's all kind of melted right there. So there you go. Got a little bit of a before and after, or a little bit of a view for you guys at least. Hard to do this when I'm by myself, but next time if I got some friends with me, then we'll get some action shots for you as well. Like I said, it's always hard to exactly show you guys a feeling, but this is between 50 and 60 kilometers an hour, so about 40 miles an hour. Nothing crazy, but these little washboard roads and a few potholes here and there. And it might sound like everything's rattling away. I got a bunch of stuff in the truck right now jingling because I was out here filming, but if you could feel how smooth it is, hopefully you can hear it in my voice. It's not like we're jumbling all around or anything like that. But with the sway bars removed, you can fly down these roads and it's like you're floating on a cloud. And then same goes for driving on the pavement. Now these aren't the greatest of roads. This is a back road. Not many people come this way, so they don't upkeep them as good as main roads. But you can see we kind of got a little bit of twisty turny roads here. And the truck doesn't lean a huge amount. Of course, you do get a little bit more body roll with the sway bars off. But like I mentioned in the video, between just the front and the front and back off, you will Feel a slight difference when you take the back off, but I've had it off for a couple of weeks now, maybe closer to a month, and you already don't notice it. You just adjust your driving habits just slightly and you don't feel it anymore. But all these bumps, like we did a little bridge there, they're never perfect, or, you know, patch jobs and just anything like that in the road. You're gonna go over it and have a lot smoother of a ride on road, just like I showed you when we were on the washboard gravel roads there. So there you go. Hopefully my rambling kind of gives you a little idea of what you're going to be dealing with. You do gain quite a bit of flex. Of course, if you're off-roading, that's the whole point of taking these things off. Get a little bit more comfort, a little more flex, a little more grip when you're out there in some of the crazier spots. But like I said, kind of got to do your own judgment. Don't believe what people say, even me. You don't have to go off of what I'm saying on the internet. But go up or climb under, take off the front and the back. You don't have to remove the whole thing. Just take the end links off, remove the end links, go for a drive and see how you like it. So hopefully this video helped you out. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to keep cruising down here. I'm going to try to make it down to the lake. I don't know if you guys can see that lake down there, but that's where we're going to try to aim to get to today. Have a little bit of relaxing, nobody in your way day, and maybe film a few more videos while we're down there. So like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we catch you in the next one.